Rob, weeks and months in the planning now come down to the start of this season, and it's a big season for you again, isn't it? The Gallagher Premiership.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's the important thing, is to look at them as in things we've got to aim to enjoy, and new challenges and things we should cherish. We work. I keep reminding myself, we worked for years and years and years and years to get anywhere near the Premiership, let alone into it. And when you get there, the most important thing is that you make sure you cherish it, because it's a fantastic competition to be involved with. And I think that's the key thing, is to make sure we're really looking forward to the game at the weekend, and that we're looking to show the best of ourselves in our home crowd in that first fixture, and that gives you a bit of a foundation to work from.
You go into it though in different circumstances to normal, but 3 wins out of 4, a semi-final place. You want to be in the fight in every competition, you said.
That's right, and we can start that in this competition on Saturday. It's an interesting. The first few rounds are really interesting, because everybody involved with rugby. You're only human. You look at the table after the first round and the second round, and week 1 you get a win and you're in the top half, and you lose, you're in the bottom half. And week 2 you can be in the top half again, or you can be pretty well stuck in the bottom 3. And so it's always an interesting start to the season. Like I say, it always makes it interesting. You start with 0 points, same as everybody else, and you've got to just start working very hard to collect those points, and that's what builds your season. And we're not going to focus on anything different to normal, and that is, we do what needs to get done to give us the best opportunity to collect points. And if we endeavour to do that with as much intensity and as much energy as we can, there's not a lot more I can ask.
A key strength of your season last year was the start you had, and you got off to a real flyer, and that really set the foundations for what you did, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had a really good result here against Leicester, and ultimately people can remember, that it led to the head coach's sacking after 1 round or whatever. But it's also something that we'll probably remind ourselves of on Friday, was that although that seemed a pretty emphatic result, it took quite a long time for the scores to go our way. I remember sitting there, and we actually were working extremely hard, and then in the kind of final third of that game, we picked up a lot of points to get us a bonus point win. And I think that's the important thing for us to remember, is that no Premiership points are collected easily. Harlequins are a good side, they've got good players, they will stand in front of us regardless of what we do, no matter how well we play. And there will always be an attritional element to every game, and we've got to stay strong, stay focused on what we do, and normally, if we do that very well, you can come out with a positive result. And that's the key for us, is not to overthink this game, is to get out there and work hard at doing what we do, and that will give us the best opportunity to collect the win.
Quins, we saw from last season, were a tough nut to crack. They beat you at their place, they were tough here, weren't they? And under Paul Gustard, they're a different animal to what they were, say, a few years ago. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I think, away from home, it was a game where, they, to be fair, on the day, they thoroughly deserved to win. They outperformed us on the day. I think we were better here at home, and we showed a little bit more of our true quality, but it was a humdinger of a game, and it was tough. And I think, that's what it's like now. Games of Premiership rugby are tough. Harlequins are an ambitious side as well. They'll want to be targeting top 6, top 4, and seeing what more they can take from there, and rightly so. And that's what the competition should be about. It should be about tough games. That's why we're here. We're not here for walkovers. There'll be no point playing. And that's what I want to see from the lads. I want to see enthusiasm. They want to play in a really tough game, and come out the other side having enjoyed what they put into it.
And that's what we've seen in these first 4 games as well. They've been tough games, haven't they? You haven't broken sides after, say, 20, 30 minutes.
No, definitely. And I think, 2 weeks ago playing Worcester, I've never seen a team make so many tackles as Worcester made that day, and they were in the lead. It wasn't like it was just their backs against the wall. They were scoring points and they were knocking us over, and we had to work extremely hard. And we showed a lot of qualities that day, and qualities that probably helped us last week, be that bit more prepared. I thought we were better last week. We were more accurate on the ball while still maintaining a bit of an increase in intensity, and that's something we've got to hope for this week, is that, again, our accuracy improves, but it doesn't improve because we lack intensity. It actually improves alongside us being a little bit more focused, a little more physical, a little bit more intense.
Looking at there now, a lot of squad numbers. Selection would have been tough next week. Next week will probably be added to, with Stuart Hogg coming back into the mix. Are you surprised to see him back so early?
Listen, you never plan on anyone getting knocked out of the World Cup, do you? And I think when you look at the pool, it was a pool where I think Scotland would be disappointed not to have got out of. But then you can't take anything away from Japan. I thought the game against Scotland was an incredible game. I've actually watched it twice. I watched it live, and I've watched it again, just obviously making sure I watched a bit on Stuart and how he was performing, but also just to watch and enjoy the ferocity of the game. Really, it was a big game. It was a big game, and you've got to be impressed with what Japan did. Stuart, to be fair to him, dropped me a message not long after the final whistle. Obviously, he's gutted, absolutely gutted, but what's really nice is you can tell already his way to focus on getting over things, to get back involved in rugby, get back in here with the boys. He'll probably have to take a bit of banter for a couple of weeks, and that's how it works. But he wants to get back and wants to get involved, and he's coming down with the family, moving in on Thursday. He'll come in on Friday, and we'll have a good look at him. Start a screening process to see where he is mentally and physically, and who knows, like I say, I think knowing the guy and how ambitious he is to get involved and be part of what we do here, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he doesn't declare himself fit and ready to go for next week.
And in terms of selection for this week, like you say, you've got a wealth of riches to pick from this week.
Yeah,
you're in a good place.
Yeah, very similar to probably the group that we had last week. But what you're seeing now is that you've got guys out there like Alex Cuthbert now, Stu Townsend, who are back into full training.
Don Armand's close.
Don Armand's getting close, although he's still in a red bib today. Over Tony's in full training now, which is fantastic. He's worked extremely hard to get back from his knee injury. That's just starting to add that bit of thickness, makes training a bit hair and scare them, because you've got two good teams banging into each other out there. But that's exactly what we want. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really excited by the start of the season. For me, it's always the important thing is like I say, don't take it for granted. It's something that's very precious to us. And the minute we take it for granted is the minute we'll get it wrong, because these games don't just come around without you working very hard for them. These games are important because we work hard for them. Playing here at Sandy Park is important because we work hard for it, and the supporters have been fantastic here. We want sell-out crowds. We want crowds bumping and wanting to get behind us. Well, that only happens if they see some emotion on the field and what the team are doing, and that's what we've got to make sure we keep delivering.